Sonno Manor. Chapter 1. Troubled Morning. The Black Matter Cafe held a full line of people waiting for their seasonal flavour that came every fall. The pumpkin spice smells wafted in the air above those that waited, making sure it would grip them once they got to the register. However, this trick did not capture the nostril of one patron. A lone young woman with flowing black hair waited patiently in line, her mind on ordering the substance to awake her droopy brain. A routine that follows every morning, the line went in a stop-and-going fashion. 4 minutes passed when Jaden finally stepped up to the very bright-eyed worker.
Hi, would you like one of our pumpkin spice lattes?
Just from that worker's voice, Jaden felt the intense energy shoot off her, hitting her right in the face. Jaden shook her head.
No.
She said in a bleak voice.
A large black coffee.
All right, would you like anything else to go with it?
Jaden eyed the menu, then the selection of sweets and breads.
I'll take 2 of these.
Jaden pointed her fingers at 2 tightly wrapped banana nut muffins.
That'll be $8.40.
Jaden slid her credit card, finalizing the purchase. She grabbed her 2 muffins and took a step to the right, waited for her coffee to be poured by another worker. Once full, the worker slid the coffee along the counter, allowing Jaden to pick it up. She stepped out of the crowded shop with a cup in one hand and carried a muffin in the other. The cold winter breeze blew past as she made her way down the street. It truly was the start of fall, she thought, as she watched the fallen leaves fall down to her feet. She sipped her coffee as her feet did the walking. She felt that good rush of warmth go through her. She let out a happy sigh, finally feeling that needed caffeine. She stopped for a moment, glancing at her wristwatch. It was barely almost 11. She stopped for a moment at a nearby bench. She scarfed down the 2 muffins, smoothing out their dry texture with sips from her coffee. She glanced around the park, doing both people and nature watching. She watched as a man collected leaves while a nearby person walked past with their dog. She smiled as another cool fall breeze came by, knocking off weary leaves from the branches of year-old trees. She chuckled at the sigh of a little boy talking to an imaginary friend, something she once did as a child herself. She sat there, remembering her childhood memories, and others began to flood in. She remembered her first crush, her first friend, and the time on that field trip where she actually tripped. Then in all those embarrassing and joyous memories, the thought she held of her final years in high school began to creep on her like a marching band. She remembered how her and her friends would discuss their lives after graduation. Her friend Josie had gotten accepted to a university thanks to her grades. Her friend Alice went all out with her own business idea. And yet, here she was, unsure of what to do with life. She didn't have the best grades, so no university decided to seek her out, nor did she have the business smarts to start her own. So, there she was, sitting all day on that final day of high school, questioning and wondering what her next step would be. She searched and studied non-stop about what she could do. She did all the annoying paperwork for community college. She held a small part-time job, but over time it began to crack away, first appearing as small fragments that soon turned into large sinkholes. Jaden could do nothing but watch as her life tumbled into a downward spiral. Suddenly Jaden jumped up, smacking herself softly.
No, I can't think like that.
She spoke. She grabbed her crumpled up muffin wrapper, stuffing it into her empty coffee cup. At leaving the park, she tossed it into a nearby can. She stopped for a moment, clutching her purse handle, and stared up at the autumn sky with determined eyes.
I'll fix it. I'm going to land this interview.
2.5 hours had passed since that moment in the park. Jaden sat with a deadpan expression, staring off into the ceiling of the local diner. The ice in her tea had begun to shift and melt. The waitress walked over to her, quietly putting down her bowl of salad in front of her. The waitress noticed the look on her face.
Are you all right, sweetie? You came in here looking awfully defeated,
she said with a soft country twang. Jaden sighed and nodded her head.
Yeah, I'm okay. Just like you said, feeling defeated,
she said, positioning her sight outside the window. The waitress put on a warm smile and gave Jaden a pat on her shoulder.
Well, I'm sure it looks bad now, but maybe whatever happened to you is for the best. Maybe out there's something better for you.
The waitress placed out some more napkins on the table.
I feel better, all right, sweetie.
Jaden stared down at her food. With an exhausted face, she shuffled the salad around in the bowl. She wished she would have had some of the brightness the lettuce held. She released a long, deep sigh, turning her attention out the window again.
Sucks that I didn't get it, but I'll just look again when I get home.
The diner bell chimed with a tall young man entering. The kind waitress walked over to him with a menu.
Hi, sir. Just yourself?
Darian, I'm over here.
Another young man hollered over at him from a booth behind Jaden. Darian gave a quick smirk at the waitress who showed him to the booth.
So?
The man said, waiting for the waitress to leave.
Did you find a way in?
Darian looked over the menu before placing it face down.
In a way.
What do you mean?
Darian shuffled in his seat as he took off his jacket.
Well, the gates that line the property are a pain. I tried climbing up, but the way they're made, it wouldn't be ideal for us to carry our equipment through. After going around the back, I found a small spot that we could squeeze in.
What's wrong with that?
Here's your tea, sweetie.
The waitress's voice cut through the two men.
Want anything to eat?
Oh, yeah.
Darian fumbled through the menu again.
I'll take the steak and eggs plate.
He pointed toward the pitcher.
All right. Be back with that.
The waitress walked to the kitchen counter with the order.
Anyway, what was wrong with that spot you found?
Darian sipped on his tea before speaking.
Well, the place is surrounded by woods and thick brush. So it wouldn't be as bad as hopping over the gate, but just digging through the brush.
Damn, I see. And you're sure there wasn't another way?
Darian shook his head.
Nope, looks like this is the only way. Though it isn't bad. There was a wide gap in the fence on that side. It's wide enough for us to squeeze our equipment through.
The man slumped back into his seat.
Doesn't sound too bad, but carrying that equipment is going to be a hassle. Damn it, why didn't he just come with us?
Darian began to flip through the dessert menu on the table.
Hey, it can't be helped. He wanted to come, but something else came up.
Yeah, where did he go again? Cuero, Texas?
I think so.
Darian said as he muddled it over.
Maybe we can hire someone to help us for the night.
The other man shook his head.
Hire someone? We don't have money in the budget for that.
Darian flipped through the dessert menu, his eyes going down from the large chocolate chip brownie to the hot fudge sundae.
It would be nice having someone in that place with us.
What place would that be?
The waitress held Darian's plate in her hands. She placed down silverware, wrapped in a napkin on the table edge as she carefully placed the plate down.
I overheard y'all two talking about hiking in some woods. What are y'all gonna do?
Well...
The man looked away embarrassed. Darian moved his plate towards himself.
We're ghost hunters, ma'am.
He said, trying to imitate her twang.
Ghost hunters? Oh, are you two planning on going to that old manor?
Yes, ma'am.
Darian said, stuffing a piece of steak into his mouth.
Well, of course, honey. Everyone knows about it. It's well known here by locals.
The waitress stared out the window, her eyes focused on a place that couldn't be seen where they were.
Sonno Manor, owned by Leggett Sonno. He's a well-respected person here in the town of Ensom. It was a sad day when he passed.
I heard he passed in the manor.
The waitress nodded her head.
Yes, they found him dead sitting in his study.
The diner door chimed as a new patron entered.
Well, if y'all boys excuse me, welcome,
she said with a big, cheerful smile. The man leaned back in his seat.
Guess it's true he died in there.
He sighed.
Well, I'm gonna go check on our equipment.
He rose from his seat, staring at Darian.
Finish up and come help me.
Hey, aren't you gonna pay for us?
Darian asked, with a full piece of steak in his mouth.
It's only a tea. Don't complain, just pay for it with your meal.
Hey!
Darian shouted. 10 minutes passed when Darian exited the diner. He fixed his jacket as he rushed towards the large RV parked alongside the street. He wiped away the excessive grease from his lips. The man that had greeted him in the diner stood outside the RV door, messing with a camera in his hands.
You know, Riley, you could have paid for your drink.
Why spend $1.35 when you can just pay for it all with yours?
Riley said with a smirk. Darian sighed.
Fine, but you're paying for my meal next time.
Fine.
Riley stepped into the RV. Darian put his hands into his jacket pockets.
I hear you, though.
Jaden exited the diner, glancing up at the sky. With her stomach filled, she began to feel a little better after her horrible morning. She pulled out her phone, going through a job listing site that she had found during her time at the diner. She began to browse, searching for anything that might be hiring.
Damn, doesn't look like much. Then again, what do I expect in a small town?
She sighed heavily.
Maybe I should try becoming a streamer. But I suck at video games.
Jaden walked right next to the RV, her eyes and mind not focused. Riley exited the RV, carrying a large camera in his hands. Right as he took that first step off the RV, and Jaden took her fourth, the two bumped right into each other. Riley fell back into the doorframe, while Jaden only fumbled a mere few inches. Nothing to really be concerned about, but as Riley regained his stance, he felt there was nothing in his hands. He searched frantically, only to have Darian tap on his shoulders and point to the ground. Jaden looked down to see a large camera on the ground broken into pieces.
No.
Riley, on his knees, shuffled over, picking up piece by piece of his camera.
I think I...
His voice trailed off as he knew he couldn't fix it. Jaden, realizing what she had done, put away her phone. She bent down, helping him pick up the pieces.
I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention.
Riley turned to her.
Damn right it's your sorry.
He shouted.
Do you know how much I spent on this?
Was that why you couldn't pay for $1.35 drink?
Darian asked.
You shut it.
Riley stood up, pointing a finger at Darian.
You better have money to pay for this.
Jaden winced in fear at Riley's anger. She glanced down at the camera, then back to his furrowing brow.
I
would like to thank the talented author of this story, Anthony Lee. Stay tuned for the next 3 parts of this amazing series. I would also like to thank the talented narrators who joined me. Demon Creep, Weekly Creeps, M.Frightmare, and A Clock Strikes 3. Please take the time to check them out. Part 2 is coming soon. This video was made with the support of my Patreons. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe and smack the bell. Share the video with your friends and foes. Take care, my little spooklings. And remember, I'll be watching you.